and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran Devlin and today's session is Operator Connect done right. What IT leaders need to know ahead of 2026. I am delighted to be joined by William Rubio, Chief Revenue Officer at CallTower. William, thanks for joining us.
Karen, thank you very much for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the conversation today.
Absolutely. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of Operator Connect ahead of 2026, please tell us a little bit about yourself, William, and your CallTower journey.
Sure. No, I've been in the industry for about 30 years overall, so been doing this already for a long time. The last 12 plus years have been the CRO over at CallTower and run the marketing and the sales and the strategic partner relationships for the company. We've seen some substantial growth over the past 12 years. We continue to expand our services and our business. We now work on a global level to service roughly about 80 countries and really focusing on best of breed solutions overall. So we do obviously with Operator Connect and some other ones that we work with, but definitely looking forward to the conversation today.
Absolutely. And I think it is a timely occasion to which they tackle this topic, and in late in 2025, IT leaders at every organization in every industry are facing an increasingly complex UC landscape. From your experience, what's the most common blind spot they encounter when deploying Operator Connect?
I think when Operator Connect has really been an evolution that it all started back. If you look at kind of the progression of what Microsoft has done with their voice services, a lot of people, probably the majority of business leaders, don't even know that Microsoft was offering voice back in the days of Microsoft Link, right? Going back to 2010, which was a little bit of a challenge, but we were selling it and we got through it. But there was 2010, there was Link 2013. Then they did the acquisition of Skype, and then they called it Skype for Business, in 2015. And then they started going the route of Microsoft Teams with around 2017. They started with direct routing, and then they launched Operator Connect right around September of 2021. We were one of the first of I think 4 providers overall that were certified to actually work within Operator Connect. And it's definitely gone ahead and evolved as far as the feature set and what it does. The primary reason or the primary goal of Operator Connect is, number one, from a stability standpoint, you got a lot more redundancy because of the fact that we are co-located with Microsoft directly in some of their data centers on a global level. So the SLAs, the redundancy is definitely built in there. And then in addition, from an administrative standpoint, you're going to get faster resolution on support, but also more management within your Office 365 portal. And that's really kind of been the goal of Operator Connect. There's roughly, last time I heard, and this number changes every day, but I think there was roughly about 112 or 113 operators. So going about a little bit more than 4 years, right? I mean, I don't even know what growth rate that is, but it's definitely substantial. But pretty similar to what we see in most different industries and most product. You have the normal 80-20 rule. You have about 80% of the services being provided by 20% of the operators, right? So it only still is really a handful of us that are really the leaders overall. So Operator Connect is definitely the route that you want to go compared to direct routing or even some other organizations that provide some type of middleware that kind of sits between their UC platform and Microsoft Teams. So some education, I think, has to happen with some customers so that they understand the differences from response times to complexities to integrations. Where does my data live? Those different types of things. And those are questions that really have to be asked by them. So I still think it's a big education that has to happen with a lot of IT leaders.
And I guess one of the main key developments since Operator Connect first came about has been the greater sense of interoperability, and the way that lots more integrations of the past few years. How does CallTower help organizations integrate Teams and Operator Connect with AI, with contact centers and other enterprise tools to make UC both seamless and measurable?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, we're all about making sure that we're going to provide best of breed solution to our customers. And if we're just providing just a connection into Operator Connect, which a lot of people look more as just a transactional type of transaction, then we're not doing our job, right? We are a managed service provider for cloud communications, and it's really customers are looking and leaning on us to go ahead and really provide not just the expertise from a support and also from an integration standpoint, but also what else can you bring to the table to really round out the solution. And I think when you look at what most operators do, they don't do that. They're just connecting you to Operator Connect, and then they're basically cleaning their hands on it. With CallTower, if you're looking first on the UC side, you have a lot of different options, right? Different things like SMS and MMS texting, WhatsApp integration, call recording compliance, call analytics. We could also integrate with Teams Premium. So if you're looking for different types of meeting rooms and even additional type of analytics within your meeting environment, we could do that. Analog lines, right? I mean, just these things just won't go away, right? Whether it's fax lines or door buzzers or security gates or paging system. Those are things that customers are saying, hey, I need this in my day-to-day operations. And is somebody going to go out there and integrate it for me and make it work? Or do I need to go out there and manage multiple different vendors and do it for them or do it myself? And then on the same side with contact center, we're partnered with the best in the industry. We're partnering with Genesys, with Five9, partnering also with Zoom, with Cisco WebEx. And then we also have our own proprietary contact center solution as well. So there is options for customers there, and it's really about driving the right solution or the right platform for the customer. And this lately here over the past year and a half with AI, right? I think AI is everybody's excited about AI and what we could do. The biggest thing with it is that most organizations don't know how to adopt it. And I think only about 5% are actually successful in actually onboarding it overall. So it's incredible to actually see what a small amount and such a big amount of failure. And I think the biggest thing is, and first on the UC side is, where could you leverage it, right? Where could you leverage AI? What could you do with Call Pilot? What can you do with Teams Premium to actually make sure that you're driving efficiencies and productivity within the organization, which at the end is going to go ahead and result in growth and also hopefully result in less attrition in your customer base, right? Those things just kind of go hand in hand. So whether it be finding pockets of scheduling, making sure that the routing of those calls are going correctly to get to the right organization or the right groups within your organization, I think are important. I think it's a little bit more tangible. I think currently on the contact center side, I think it's been used a little bit more when you start looking at what AI has done with different things like agent assist, right? How could I help my agents with some real-time scripts that pop up on their screen instead of just actually having a multitude of just some canned scripts, but actually machine learning that it actually is developing the scripts based on the customer interaction that agent is actually happening. Also, when you do different things like interactive virtual agents, IVAs, those IVAs are complex to go ahead and set up initially. But with the use of AI, you could actually see where the bottlenecks are because you could actually compress and you could actually analyze that data a lot quicker to say, okay, everybody, when they hit option 3, they at that point, then they're zeroing out to the operator, and that's the last thing that we want. How could we have 20 or 30% of the requests that come in, whether it be through phone call, through chat, through email, be taken care of by AI, and just let my employees actually go ahead and worry about the tier 2 or just about some customers that are looking to order more services and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways to use it. I just think it's a matter of how to leverage it, and that's what we're here to do, right? That's our job, is to provide that responsibility to the customer, and we do it with not just by selling the contact center, but by also doing the implementation, by doing the professional services, by doing that deep dive with the customer, the managed services within that environment. And one of the things we tell our customers is don't tell me what you have today and just think that I'm going to replicate that to go ahead and save you some money. Sure, I mean, savings are going to come, but let's really try to dive in to see what your issues are and how we can really drive those business outcomes to improve your organization, right? It's really to improve the efficiencies within the organization. So it takes a little bit longer in the sales cycle when you do it like that, but the whole idea is to really make sure that the customer's getting the best value for the investment that they're making. And it's the investment for their customers, for their employees, and also for their company.
I think if we could just like dig into that a little more detail, William, because I think you've actually very elegantly segued into one of my future questions, which was the kind of lessons that you've learned from past deployments that you would share with an IT leader or CIO really looking to maximize adoption on ROI in 2026.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that everybody has these big goals with AI, and I think that's the biggest reason why a lot of these organizations are failing in the investment. They look at and I kind of use this example or this analogy all the time. It's like you're building a 10-bedroom house for one individual to live there, right? And I think that it's baby steps, right? Go ahead and build a smaller house first, and then kind of grow from there. And the same thing goes with when you're doing projects within AI. Automate a spreadsheet, right? Automate something that is very redundant or mundane within your organization that is bogging down maybe some human labor overall that you could actually automate. And not that you're going to replace their jobs, but you're going to make them more efficient in other things that they're doing. We had something pretty basic in our organization, which was the creating of SKUs overall when we are adding into our product catalog. And it took a little time. What's the term? What's the margin? What's the price? What's the upfront cost if there is? What's the monthly? It's a lot, right, overall. And when you have somebody doing that day in and day out, if there's a way just to have the core cost in there, and then going ahead and just actually having that automated work in the system, it just drove efficiency within the organization. Those individuals that were doing that are now doing other things in the organization that they're even looking at to be more of value. So I think when you're looking and you're talking to a CIO and even a CEO in some cases, because usually the request to adopt AI is coming from the board and coming from the CEO, it's like, hey, these are the small steps that we've made, and this is where we're seeing some return on investment. And I think the biggest miss, Karen, that a lot of organizations don't see is what's the value that it's bringing to my employees, right? I mean, employees want to go ahead and they want to see that they have the tools. They feel fulfilled when they have the right tools to help their customers, to help their vendors, and see that they're making a difference within the organization. And it really drives good momentum across the organization, which is going to drive growth and ROI.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that's the adoption gap that's been so widely presented. A lot of it comes down to just a lack of understanding or the lack of training that the employees can really get the most out of these tools. Um, I don't know, thinking from a strategic perspective, for IT leaders planning a global rollout, what are the key considerations around issues like compliance, governance, and multi-region deployment?
Sure. I mean, that's a big challenge, especially with the way the regulations and compliance is changing, even within Europe, right? Overall, I mean, it is the European Union, but in some cases they do act like very different. I mean, they're different countries, so they act very independent as far as what they consider from anything from compliance, from recording to data sovereignty, and so forth. So I think first and foremost is you want to work with an organization that has that experience. Is my carrier that's going to be deploying my Operator Connect registered in those different regions, certified to sell in those different regions with Microsoft, and go down that path. So I think that that's important. Having somebody like CallTower that could do that heavy lifting for you, that operates in those multiple different regions, especially some of those challenging countries that they're just a little bit more difficult to work with. We do that, right? That's really the goal. So make sure you're partnering yourself with somebody that has that expertise. Ask for references, saying, do you have any customers in this country overall? And then when you're doing the deployment, work with somebody that could do the deployment based on your schedule, right? Everybody wants to do what we call a rip and replace. And with Call Tower, and particular in this is one of our unique attributes that we provide to customers. We could live in a hybrid stage. So if a customer winds up having, let's just say, a premise-based solution on a global level, they have multiple different instances of their platform, we could deliver SIP trunks into those different instances. We could port numbers over and continue to work with that existing premise-based PBX or instance, and then slowly but surely they can migrate those users over to Operator Connect based on their time frame. But the key there is that I could have a user in Thailand that could be on a legacy premise-based solution talking to somebody in Brazil that's on Operator Connect on my network, and it never hits the public switch telephone network. so the customer doesn't incur any costs. And that's really the biggest thing, is to really drive that flexibility when they're doing those type of calls. So little things like that that really make a difference for a customer, especially when IT resources are being pulled into multiple different directions. They need help from managed service providers like us.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And one final question before I let you go, William. Looking ahead, how do you see UC, but particularly Operator Connect, evolving alongside AI and hybrid work? And what should IT leaders be doing now to prepare for the future?
Yeah, I think if you're ignoring it, if you're kicking AI down the road, I think that you're going to have a big issue. I think it's here. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. So I think the sooner that IT leaders embrace it and understand how to leverage it within their organization, and again, crawl, walk, run, right? They do baby steps first. I think that you're going to get more champions and more endorsement from your different department heads and your different employees, because they see the progression of it instead of trying to swing for the fences the entire time. Just go ahead and just get some good progression going. But if you're ignoring it today, I'll tell you, your competitors are not ignoring it, so you're going to really fall behind the eight ball on that.
Fantastic. Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today, but it's been a terrific session as ever with yourself, William. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Karen.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share as ever on social media. We'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.